Hello my small fat adapted family, and welcome to the first episode of the Great Keto Bake Off 2021. For anyone that is new to this series, this is how it goes. I watch the Great British Bake Off live at 8 PM. I then go away and I pick one singular recipe from the entire episode, and I stay up late writing a ketogenic recipe of it. When I wake up, I go out and get ingredients, and here I am. I am basically trusting my ability to adapt high carb recipes in a very short period of time. But this also means that there is a potential, like in the show, that it will go wrong, and if it does, you get to see all of that on camera. So episode 1 of the Great British Bake Off was Cake Week. The signature was mini Swiss rolls, the technical was a malt loaf, and the showstopper was anti-gravity cakes that were based on a memory. With more baking experience under my belt, I am willing to give the showstopper a go maybe this season, even though I have absolutely zero cake decorating experience and it's incredibly hard to create things like fondant on the keto diet. But this is a very intense showstopper straight from the bat, so it's not happening this week. And then when it came to the technical, the malt loaf, I would have loved to have made a keto version of a malt loaf. You know, especially because I used to love like a Serene, but when you look at the ingredients and it's malt extract, it's black treacle, it's prunes, it's raisins, I would basically have to take everything out of the recipe and change it. And that leaves us with the miniature Swiss rolls. I have always wanted to try and make a keto Swiss roll, but I am so scared of cracking it as I roll it. The choice of flavour was quite a difficult one because there were some real contenders in there, including a flourless cake, a meringue-based cake, as well as 3 people doing Black Forest Gâteau, which is a flavour that I absolutely adore. But in the end, I decided to do a flavour that I don't really explore. So, for the first episode of the Great British Bake Off 2021, I will be keto-fying Giuseppe's almond and orange miniature Swiss rolls. This will be a nice simple almond flour, almond flavoured cake that is filled with an orange ricotta, as well as being dipped in ricotta and coated with mixed nuts. Giuseppe also garnished his with white chocolate. I'm not going to be doing that. Happy Great British Bake Off 2021, let's get cooking. So, for this recipe, you will need 4 eggs that have been separated into egg whites and egg yolks, 1 teaspoon of almond extract, 3 tablespoons of coconut oil that is melted, 1.5 tablespoons of cream, 1.5 tablespoons of water, 75 grams or 3/4 of a cup of almond flour, 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder, 1/4 of a teaspoon of cream of tartar, and 1/4 cup of granulated sweetener. I am using erythritol. For the filling, you will need 250 grams of ricotta, 1 teaspoon of dried orange zest. If you are using fresh orange zest, use a tablespoon, 1/4 of a teaspoon of orange extract, 2 tablespoons of cream, 3 to 4 tablespoons of powdered sweetener. I'm using powdered erythritol, and about 60 grams of finely diced nuts. The first thing you're going to want to do is turn your oven on to 170 Celsius, which is about 325 Fahrenheit. I have already lined 2 thin rectangular baking pans with parchment paper, so I'm going to move straight into beginning to mix the ingredients. So to my bowl of egg yolks, I'm adding basically the wet ingredients. So I'm adding the cream, the water, and my almond extract. Then I'm going to beat this until it's all nice and well combined. Then once you have a nice pale yellow, well mixed liquid, you're going to add the 2 dry ingredients, which is your almond flour and your baking powder, and then you're just going to mix it all again until it's nice and well combined. And this should leave you with a sort of grainy, sloppy texture that we are just going to set aside until we need it. Do you know what? Before you set it aside, don't fall on the first hurdle and forget your oil. I'm just going to quickly add the oil in and beat that in as well. The mixture is now a lot sort of goopier, stickier, still grainy. Now this will get set aside until we need it in a little bit. Now our egg yolk mixture is done, we're going to move on to our egg whites, and this is probably going to take the longest prep time out of everything, to be honest. We're just going to want to get these into stiff peaks with a few additions as we go. We've got cream of tartar that we're just going to sprinkle over the top, and we are now going to beat this into just starting to go into peaks before we add in the sweetener as well. Now that it is just starting to peak, I'm going to turn the whisk back on, and I'm going to very gradually add my sweetener whilst whisking at the same time. The way to test for whether your peaks are stiff or soft is to pull your whisk out and watch the peaks of where the whisk was. Do they hold themselves for at least a couple of seconds, or do they just droop over immediately? If they hold themselves, it is stiff like this is. If they don't, just keep whisking. I tell you what, I heard a tip a couple of years ago to always do egg white whisking in a clean, dry glass bowl, and since then I refuse to do it any other way, because what usually takes me maybe 10-12 minutes has taken me 4 or 5 minutes at most in a glass bowl. So we're just going to pop our egg whites just to the side, get our egg yolk mixture. So I'm going to use a spatula, and about a third at a time of the egg whites are just going to get gently folded in to the yolk mixture. You just got to be nice and slow, take your time, because we want to keep as much air in this mixture as possible. And the more aggressive you beat it, the more air is going to get beaten out of it. Second third in now. It's already starting to get a little bit lighter and a little bit fluffier. And now we're just going to slowly add the final third. I have prepped 2 sheets because I really am not sure how much this is going to do. I've kind of made the assumption it will do 2 sheets worth. So if you can see that, that's kind of what your mixture should look like, a lot lighter in colour. And I'm going to just kind of try and get half out. I'm staying low to the baking sheet to try and just avoid bubbles, losing bubbles. The thinner it is, the easier it's going to be to roll, but also is it not going to then be more susceptible to cracking? Okay, I think I can do like 1 and a bit actually. So my 1.5 almond cakes are going to go in the oven for, I'm going to say probably about 24-25 minutes. I will check them halfway through, maybe at about 10ish minutes, potentially change them over on racks just so that they cook evenly, but I will then check them again. I guess 18 minutes in, I'll let you know how long they take. In the meantime, I'm going to prepare the ricotta filling. So I've got 250 grams of full fat ricotta. First thing I'm going to do is add in the cream, and then I'm going to get that ricotta nice and mixed up until I got a nice even creamy sauce. So now that's all nicely mixed, I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of orange extract. I really didn't want very much orange extract in this because it is so overpoweringly strong. So I'm going to take my dried zest. There is a reason I'm using dried. We don't use oranges because oranges are too high carb. So if I was going to go and buy an orange and get the zest from it, I have wasted the orange juice, you know, the pulp, things that other people could enjoy. I don't want to waste food like that, so we buy big packets of our zests. Now I'm hoping that this will be enough to flavour it with enough orange, and the sweetener could change the taste. So we'll get the sweetener in first. I'm not going to put all of it in straight away. He says throwing most of it in. I'm going to leave about a tablespoon's worth, because powdered sweetener is usually sweeter than granulated sweetener, so I need to just check that it's the right sweetness. It definitely needs that 4 sweetener, I think. I think it needs more sweetening, you know, but I might have to judge it on how are the cakes looking. They're doing something in there. Oh, okay, right, we're going with a teaspoon of extract in total, and then probably about another 1.5 tablespoons of sweetener, and I think we're onto a winner there. Let's just do it a little teaspoon at a time. Yeah. So this is getting set aside until the cakes are not only ready, but I need them to completely cool. So I'm probably going to be gone for, well, 45 minutes for me, seconds for you guys. Cakes have completely cooled. I said I thought they'd take about half an hour, and to be honest, they took about 10 minutes, if that. So that does not instill confidence in me. They are quite brown on the top and have lost quite a bit of sponge. So I'm a little bit worried about that as well. I really don't know if these are going to roll. The next step, I guess, is this is where I have to kind of work on the fly, because I'm wondering how I'm going to go about this, because I never saw them do it. You know, you saw them make the cake, you saw them put it in the oven, you didn't see how they portioned it out. But I'm assuming the best way to go about it, tell you what, we'll do it on the half slice first. But then how am I going to roll that? Oh, okay. Alright. So if I did that in half, because then I can make 2 out of that. So that gives me 2. We'll trim the edge of that one, but that gives me 4. And then if I did them about the same size here, 10, I think, maybe? We'll use that as a marker. It just broken off! That's not a good sign. That is not a good... This is why I've never wanted to make Swiss rolls. That is really not a good sign. With more baking experience under my belt, I have more experience in baking. Don't listen to me. I don't know what I'm doing. Do you know what? I've definitely overcooked them by a couple of minutes, if that. I looked at them, I think 16 minutes, and I was like, nah, they're not anywhere near ready. So I left them in for another 2 minutes, and that was enough to potentially ruin this whole recipe. No! Come on, I want one successful one out of all of this. Out of all of this, that's all I ask, is for one singular successful one. If we start with the little one, then I can see kind of how it works. That is not gonna roll. A nice healthy dose of the filling. You just gotta believe in yourself. You just gotta... That's literally just snapped in half. It literally, the moment I go to roll it, look, it just snaps. Change your plan, change your plan, change your plan. This is what we have to do. Give me a knife. Oh my god, I've just dropped one on the floor. This is a great idea I've got here. This is a great idea. Just pop it on there, and we're going to make like sponge fingers. So there's 1 finger sandwich. There's 2 finger sandwiches. Oh! We've been better off doing the bloody anti-gravity cakes. Because at least then I could have just used a simple Victoria sponge. Our little sponge fingers are going to get a slathering of this. Okay, I will be back in a minute when I've done all of these. Then in the middle, oh, look at that. It's a little, oh, it's the most even thing I've done all of today. And my chopped nuts, I will just, oh, beautiful. You have never seen a Swiss roll like this. You have... Oh my god, it's episode 1! Here before me is a keto version of Giuseppe's almond and orange Swiss rolls. It obviously didn't quite go to plan, but I have done the best I can with the problems I've had, and I have created something that I am calling Elliot's Fancy Ladies. There you go, that's a cute little name, isn't it? There's this beautiful topping with some of the orange ricotta and nuts, and then you've got these lovely thin sponges with the ricotta inside. Please at least just be tasty. They're delicious. It could do with a little bit more almond, because the orange is very there. A little bit more sweetener in the sponge, but it's really delicate, like in a good way. Like you take a bite and it just like feels like you're biting into a cloud, with this beautiful natural tasting orange. The orange doesn't taste artificial, and then you've got that slight ricotta taste in the back, and then a sort of slight crunch from just a few nuts on the top. If I could have gotten that into a Swiss roll, that would have been amazing. While I'm here, I've made 12. I might as well give you the macros as if it was a Swiss roll, in case you want to make some of Elliot's Fancy Ladies. So it serves 12, and per serving it is 141 calories, 12 grams of fat, 5 grams of protein, and 1 gram of net carbs. Again, I am happy with them. I have made something Thank you so much for joining me for another round of this incredibly chaotic series, but honestly, I would have been the first sent home. But because it's not a competition, I could come back and do it again, so join me next week for my favourite week, which is Biscuit Week. But with that being said, that is all for this video. Leave a like if you found it interesting, insightful, helpful. Subscribe for more keto content. Any questions, any comments, any queries, anything down below. Keep calm, keto on. Thanks for watching.